Hi, I'm Dr. Joe Niamtu, LoveThatFace.com, and I am so grateful for the people that watch our YouTube videos. We have almost 20 million hits, and every day I speak to people from all over the world with questions regarding cosmetic facial surgery. So if you've never seen our videos before, I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and I do cosmetic facial surgery. I only operate from here to here, and I don't do boobs, bellies, and butts. My passion is face and neck lift surgery, and I have many videos on this, as well as other videos on eyelid surgery, facial implants, all this stuff from here to here. So I get a lot of questions from viewers, and I'm trying to answer some of these, especially the ones that are relevant that we haven't answered before. And Jenny wrote in and said, Dr. Joe, how long would my facelift last? Well, that's really an excellent question, Jenny, and obviously every patient wants to know that and needs to know that. So let's start off with the easy answer, okay? No cosmetic surgery is permanent because we're not permanent, right? We have an expiration date. Cosmetic surgery has an expiration date. So there are various ways to answer this question. Now, in some respects, and I use this example in my consultations all the time. So in some respects, a facelift can last forever. Now, what do I mean by that? So it can last as long as the person lives. So let's say you have two patients, okay? You have Lauren and you have Sally, and they're both 60 years old. And Lauren has a facelift, Sally doesn't, okay? So on Lauren, we've turned back the clock, all right? We can never stop the clock, but we turn it back. So when these twin sisters age, another 10, 15, 20 years, Lauren is always going to look a little younger than Sally because she's had an adjustment, a reset. We have turned her clock back. So in that respect, there's always going to be that change, even when they're 90 years old. Now, the other way to answer this question, which is really a more of a direct way and the answer that people want to hear, is we'll say that most cosmetic surgery, including face and neck lift, lasts about a decade, all right? Now, this is an extremely variable figure because it can depend on the patient's genetics, on their skin type, how much elasticity they have, if they continue to smoke and drink and tan after their surgery. But for the most part, let's say it should last a decade. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm at the point where I'm doing second lifts on a lot of my patients. So some of these facelifts have lasted, 15, 17 years. And I've had patients that came back in for a revision facelift at 8 years. So there's a lot of variability. But I think 10 years is a pretty safe prediction. In the way I don't take any shortcuts, okay? And I love doing facelift surgery. I love talking about it. And there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. I do platysmoplasty, I do smastectomy, I do it by the book. And this type of lift, and I don't do these little miracle lifts or mini lifts or thread lifts or vampire lifts or whatever lift. I do a traditional comprehensive facelift, and these will give you your best longevity and your safest results. And there are a lot of different kinds of facelifts that a lot of different surgeons do, and you have deep plane and this and that, and that's less important. What's important is what works well in the hands of that surgeon, has happy patients with predictable outcomes that are long lasting. All right. So again, I think you can look at a decade or more as the average time that a facelift would last. So it's a good long-term investment, really. There's a lot of things we pay money for, a lot more money than what a facelift costs, and they don't last a decade or longer. Now, there's another thing about this. So when we say it's going to be time for a revision facelift in a decade or 12 years or whatever it is, I also want to explain this. So our average patient is usually in their 50s for a facelift. Maybe our average age is 52, 53. That includes patients that are 42 years old and 82 years old. And if you average that all together, let's just say we look pretty good for a half a century, right? You look in the mirror, there's not many changes. Then you get into your early 50s and you start looking like your parents a little bit, okay? So it takes a half century to get this kind of stuff, and I'm a little older than a half century, but for most people, they start getting this, so it took 50 years to get that. Well, in 10 years, when you need another lift, you're probably not going to have that much skin like you had the first time, but you will have, some continued aging. So in reality, the minute you walk out of my office, the clock starts ticking again. And again, it's not a permanent result because we are not permanent. But it's so important that when you have any type of cosmetic surgery, and especially a facelift, you look for somebody a lot of experience, somebody that can that's going to do it the right way and not take shortcuts. And there's two things that I have to do: safe surgery and predictable results. And to be successful, you have to do that. I am such a lucky guy that I get to come to work and do this stuff because I guess I'm kind of nerdy about it because I love what I do for a living. And we're going to show you some pictures of some facelift results. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Dr. Joe Niamtu.